Hi, my name is Frank Valentic, Director and Buyer's Advocate from Advantage Property Consulting. Today I'm going to talk about the apartment market and whether it's the right time to sell an apartment or whether it's actually the right time to buy one as well. Now, the apartment market in Melbourne has been very patchy the last 7 years, hasn't had a lot of capital growth, and the main reason for that is the large supply of new apartments being built in Melbourne. That has definitely been a huge factor compared to when I was buying apartments in Elwood, St Kilda in the mid-90s to 2005 period. Apartments in those areas, 1970 style properties, tripled in value, whereas the last 7 to 10 years we've seen very little capital growth. Nothing's changed about those apartments, they've stayed the same. All that has changed is the landscape, that there is a large supply of apartments in the inner ring, and that's something there that buyers and people that own apartments need to take into consideration. So firstly, would you sell an apartment if it's not getting capital growth? And if that's one of your main reasons for buying the property, then that's going to be a big factor, because I don't think there's going to be an awful lot of capital growth in the next 5 years or so. Secondly, you buy properties as investment properties for rental return. Apartments and units tend to get stronger rental returns than houses, so that could be a factor for you if you're after cash flow. The Melbourne average is usually around 3% for apartments, gross return, and 2% for houses. So you are getting more return. And if we're buying through our group block purchases and renovating, then often we can get 4 to 5% return. So that can be a big factor. One of the things to be clear on is to really look at where the apartments are, and the inner ring has got an oversupply. So we're typically giving our clients advice to buy in the middle suburbs and further out, and trying to buy 10 to 20 kilometres outside of Melbourne CBD, where there's less apartment supply, and therefore we'd hopefully get more demand and more capital growth in the future. Also, if your apartment or unit has some land, land is king and always appreciates, buildings depreciate. So if your apartment does have some land, or if you've got a unit, a villa unit or a townhouse, that might be a wise decision to keep that property versus if it's in a high-rise building and only has airspace and doesn't have any land content, and very much that's going to determine your investment in the future. So really, an apartment at the moment in the Melbourne market can struggle in the inner suburbs. The vacancy rates there in South Bank and Docklands are as high as 12%. So it's taking a long time to get tenants, whereas the Melbourne average is 3%. All these factors need to be taken into account when you're considering about buying an apartment or also selling an apartment. Please don't hesitate to get on our website, check out information about our Buyer's Advocate, Seller's Advocate, property management and group block purchases, as well as subscribing to our weekly and monthly market updates. We look forward to seeing you next time.